It was a cold October afternoon in 2009 when Bobby Jamison locked the front door of his modest Eufaula home for the last time. His wife, Sherilyn, followed behind, her arms crossed tight around her chest, holding their 6-year-old daughter Madison's pink hoodie. Madison, quiet and wide-eyed, clutched a small brown puppy to her chest as they climbed into their white pickup truck. The Jamisons were headed into the Sand Boys Mountains of Oklahoma to look at a 40-acre plot of land they considered buying to start a new life, one away from everything. Away from the debt, the depression, and the darkness that seemed to follow them like a shadow lately. Neighbors said Bobby hadn't been the same for months. He'd stopped speaking to people, often staring into space like he was listening to voices no one else could hear. Sherilyn was no better. Her temper was sharp, her behavior erratic. Some said she'd taken to painting demonic symbols in their house that she believed spirits haunted them. And Madison, well, even she had started talking to imaginary friends, whispering to corners of empty rooms with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. But on that October afternoon, they looked like any other family heading into the woods, quiet, maybe a little tense, but ordinary to anyone who didn't know better. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. 4 days later, the Jamisons' truck was found abandoned on a rugged dirt road deep in the mountains. The doors were locked, but inside sat wallets, phones, IDs, a GPS, and about $32,000 in cash, carelessly stuffed beneath the driver's seat. Madison's beloved puppy was still there too, starving and weak, curled up in the back seat. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no footprints leading away, no broken glass or slashed tires. Just emptiness. The kind that sinks into your bones and settles there. Deputies searched for weeks, drones, dogs, helicopters, nothing. It was as if the Jamisons had simply walked off the edge of the earth. But the longer people looked into the family's past, the stranger the story became. In the weeks before they vanished, Bobby had installed surveillance cameras all around their home. He claimed people were watching them. Sometimes he'd pace back and forth on the porch in the dead of night, holding a rifle, staring into the trees. When a neighbor asked about it, he whispered, "They come out after dark." "Who?" the man asked. Bobby only shook his head. "You wouldn't believe me." On one of the surveillance tapes, both Bobby and Sherilyn are seen loading their truck over and over, moving things in and out in a kind of dazed trance, barely speaking, their movements robotic and out of sync. For hours, they went back and forth like that, until finally they left. It was unsettling, like they were under a spell. Sherilyn's mother told investigators her daughter believed the house was haunted. She even said she had seen dark figures inside it. Shadow people who whispered things, made the air heavy. Sherilyn had gone as far as buying an exorcism book off the internet, and had scribbled bizarre notes in the margins. She claimed Madison would speak to a ghost child who floated, and Bobby had started talking about demons, about how he believed they were targeting his family. He told his pastor he'd spoken to spirits, that he'd made contact. No one took them seriously, until they disappeared. 4 years passed. Then, in 2013, a hunter stumbled across partial skeletal remains in a wooded area not far from where the truck had been found. The bones were scattered, almost hidden beneath the brush. 3 bodies lying side by side. Forensic testing confirmed what many already suspected. It was Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison. No cause of death could be determined, no trauma, no gunshot wounds, no knife marks, just bones, sun-bleached and silent. The medical examiner ruled the cause of death as unknown. But there was something wrong with the positioning of the bodies. They were too neatly aligned, like someone had placed them there deliberately, like a grim little family tableau, laid to rest in the middle of nowhere. And near the scene, investigators found strange symbols carved into a nearby rock. Faint, as if done with a dull knife. The symbols matched some of the ones Sherilyn had drawn in her diary. Locals still talk about the Jamison family, especially the older ones who grew up near the mountain trails. They say the land is cursed, that long before the Jamisons ever walked into those woods, others had gone missing there too. Hikers, campers, drifters. Some believe the family fell victim to a cult, that the land was used for rituals, sacrifices. There were rumors of a local man involved in witchcraft who'd once threatened Bobby during a property dispute, warning him that dark things live on that land. Others think they were possessed, that whatever spirits they'd been seeing hadn't stayed in their house, they'd followed them, into the trees, into their minds. There's a theory, too, that Bobby and Sherilyn went mad, that in their paranoia, they killed Madison and themselves. But no weapons were ever found. No drugs in their system, no blood at the scene, and the money, still untouched, still unexplained. But the creepiest part, the part people whisper about in hushed voices, is the video. A recovered voice memo, buried deep in Bobby's phone memory card, plays just 30 seconds of audio. Quiet at first, then static, and then a voice. Not Bobby, not Sherilyn, not Madison, something else. A deep, distorted voice, whispering in a language no one has been able to identify. It ends with a loud knock, like a fist slamming on metal, and a high-pitched giggle, unmistakably that of a child. But Madison wasn't laughing, not in that place. Not anymore. To this day, no one knows what truly happened to the Jamison family. But those who hike in the Samboy Mountains sometimes report odd things. Cold gusts in still air, laughter echoing through the trees, and dark figures watching from the ridgelines. And once in a while, someone will say they saw a little girl, barefoot and smiling, holding a brown puppy, walking between the trees. But when they look again, she's gone.